Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. All right, this is your boy, the old ball coach. Just want to give you kind of a quick glimpse into week 4 of the PHFL. Good morning, PHFL. So just gonna take a kind of a quick dive. We're gonna have a reformatted show. We're gonna be able to provide a lot more content, a lot more substance behind our broadcast and behind our weekly show with GM extraordinaire Coach Woe. We're also going to have the Grizz in there, Coach Rail, and some other special guests. That's definitely going to be tapping in just to make sure that you get that exciting PHFL content. So again, just looking at kind of week 3 and providing kind of an overview of week 3. One of the main focus points going into really week 4 was the AFC and how top heavy the AFC is. So when you kind of look at the AFC and you look at like those top teams. You have to really start off with the Houston Texans, the New England Patriots, the Baltimore Ravens, and honestly, the surprising Pittsburgh Steelers. All of those teams are undefeated. We're going to have a lot of great matchups within the next couple of weeks, starting off with our PHFL Game of the Week, pitting the Houston Texans against the New England Patriots. So there's going to be some things that's definitely going to shake out over the next couple of weeks in the AFC. But again, when you look at it, it's top heavy, and that's not even including the Denver Broncos who are waiting in the wings. That's not even including the New York Jets, and also again the Cleveland Browns. They're off to a 4-1 start. So there's a lot of action within the AFC, a lot of top heavy teams. So when you look at again just the overall the overall teams and kind of looking at where they are, the AFC definitely is a top heavy conference and really has kind of the edge right now over the NFC when you're talking about like kind of where those dominant teams are currently residing. Kind of looking at some of our rookies and who is really making, or actually, let's do this before we go into the rookies. Let's take a quick glance around the league from week 4. We have the Cleveland Browns. They forced 8 turnovers and they knocked off the Indianapolis Colts 62-14. In our PHFL Best Bet of the Week, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the the Cincinnati Bengals 38-35, and then also the Raiders defeated the Vikings 38-35. So if there are any bettors out there, if there are any lottery playing people out there, you probably want to play in 3835 because again, what a coincidence that our PHFL Best Bet scores ended the same. Again, looking at kind of the stats from the Raiders game. Again, just we kind of, figured that this was going to be an exciting game. Both teams, have a knack for turning the ball over, but they also have a knack for putting up big plays and scoring a lot of points. So we figured that was going to be kind of an exciting game. So you look at Jalen Hurts, 12 for 23, 298 yards, 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions for the Vikings. And then kind of looking at Pat Galloway, 6 carries for 144 yards and a touchdown. Probably, should have fed him a little bit more if you're talking about, him almost averaging, 30 yards or 27 yards per carry. So again, just, an outstanding game, between two teams that, again, maybe not, as far as a top tier, but definitely has some top tier talent. And when those teams match up against each other, you'll definitely have some fireworks. The surprise was the Steelers sweeping the Cincinnati Bengals. There's been a lot of chatter around the Bengals organization. There's been a lot of disparaging remarks made about the Bengals and their lack of heart. But again, they fought tooth and nail with the Bengals, who's always really been a thorn in their side. So this is not kind of a surprising result, that the Bengals knocked off, or the Steelers knocked off the Bengals, because those teams really have a history over the last 6 seasons to kind of go back and forth. So one team doesn't hold a dominant edge over the other. So again, you could definitely kind of expect, that kind of results between those two teams. And then our PHFL game of the week, the Baltimore Ravens defeated the New York Jets. And I don't want to call it an upset because the Jets were the favorite, but 28-27. Definitely was a back and forth affair. The Jets had the lead going into the fourth quarter with maybe a minute and some change left, and the Ravens put forth a last-ditch drive and was able to come out with the victory. And you see Lamar 314 yards with 3 touchdowns in the victory. So, the Ravens, there was a lot of talk in coming out of Baltimore as far as the Ravens tanking for wide receiver Fitzpatrick. And again, they were kind of going back and forth within the organization, wanting to win and playing to win, but then also trying to protect the pick. And ultimately, it worked out well because Fitzpatrick fell to the Ravens. But right now, it appears that Coach Shump and the Ravens organization are back, to their successful self, and they're right now sitting at 4-0. When you go through and look at the rookies, we have some outstanding rookie performers in the PHFL this season. Jamar Allen, even though again they took a surprisingly easy loss, or surprisingly had their hats handed to him by the New York Football Giants, he's still ultimately having a great season as a rookie quarterback. J.C. Fitzpatrick is as advertised. The guy's having a monster season thus far. Keenan Charleston is leading all wide receivers as a rookie. He's made a new entry into week 4 as far as our rookie report. David Geddes has been just consistent with running the ball in the top 10 as far as rushes are concerned. And then Sergio Gregory, Timon Haskins, a new entry also for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's leading the PHFL in rushing. So again, just, some outstanding rookies that are definitely making, some impact in the PHFL. Just kind of quickly looking at our players of the week. And again, we just mentioned Timon Haskins. He was our Pepsi Zero Sugar Rookie of the Week with 33 carries, 164 yards, and 4 touchdowns in the Buccaneers victory. And then looking at our players of the week, again, some dynamic players of the week, put up some great stats, but none better than David Flattery, who 38 for 51, 563 yards, 8 touchdowns. Did have 3 interceptions, but had a QBR of 125 in the Broncos victory over the Chargers. And then our defensive player of the week was Tyler Harrison, had 11 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception, and 1 deflection in the Browns victory over the Colts. In the NFC, our offensive player of the week was Christian Watson. Again, just a great game against the Bears. 11 receptions for 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaged 13.5 yards per reception for the Packers. Again, they rebounded from that disappointing showing against the San Francisco 49ers. And then our defensive player of the week was Sean Rice, again, of the Bucs. He had 3 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble. So again, just a lot of great performances from our, from some of the star-studded talent that we have in the PHFL from a user perspective, from a draft and development perspective. So again, had some great performances. Just real quick, just kind of look at the PHFL power ranking started in the NFC. No surprise who leads the NFC as far as the top power ranking. A lot of teams lost last week. The Eagles suffered a loss. The Lions suffered the loss. So there was some shakeup in the power ranking. We have the San Francisco 49ers. They are leading the NFC as far as the power ranking is concerned. The Dallas Cowboys are coming in number 2. The Green Bay Packers are number 3. The Seattle Seahawks is making their first trip into the power ranking at number 4, and the Carolina Panthers again at number 5 in the NFC power ranking. And you probably can forecast and project that this NFC power ranking will be kind of a topsy-turvy, and you'll see a lot of movement, maybe outside of the 49ers and possibly the Cowboys. You'll see a lot of movement, teams going in and teams going out. The NFC, or the AFC rather, is a little bit more sturdy at the top, with the Patriots leading the AFC power ranking at 4-0. The Houston Texans, they dropped 45. Again, huge matchup between the Texans and the New England Patriots next week. They're at 4-0. Good solid win for the Ravens over the Jets. They're at 4-0. The Pittsburgh Steelers, again, at 4-0, and two of their wins are coming over the AFC defending champion Cincinnati Bengals, so they are 4-0. And then the Cleveland Browns are making their first appearance in the power ranking at 3-1, and now they have a huge matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. So a lot of things are going to be shaking out in the AFC, with, again, looking at the top 5 teams. 4 of those teams are matching up against each other. New England against the Texans, and then the Ravens, again, with their rivalry. Can't really call it a rivalry when you beat someone 11 straight, but nonetheless, there's still some animosity and some tension between the organizations, the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. And then when you look at the PHFL overall power rankings, the 49ers sit atop the NFL power rankings at 3-1. The Houston Texans are coming in at 4-0. Again, have the best defense in the league. They have a tough test against the Patriots. Those teams definitely know each other well, and it'll definitely be a chess match between those two. You got the New England Patriots coming in at number 3, the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 4, and the Baltimore Ravens at number 5. So again, just kind of a quick overview of the PHFL and kind of our daily content that we send out. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back. Okay, thank you for your patience. So we're back, and just kind of looking at overall just the NFC, and kind of just looking at the seedings and looking at the teams. The surprising Arizona Cardinals are leading the AFC West over the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of us, honestly don't expect that to last. But right now, after 4 weeks, you kind of are what your record says you are. And the Cardinals are 3-1, top seed so far in the NFC, followed by the Eagles at 3-1, the Packers at 3-1, and the Carolina Panthers at 3-1. So those are your 4 division leaders. And then the number 1 wild card is the Dallas Cowboys, followed by the San Francisco 49ers, and then the Detroit Lions at 3-1. So you see the Atlanta Falcons at 3-1. You see the Seattle Seahawks at 3-1, and then you see the New York Giants at the 10th spot at 2-2. In the AFC, again, the top 3 teams are undefeated. So you have the New England Patriots, the number 1 seed at 4-0. You have the Houston Texans at the 2nd seed at 4-0. And then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 3-0, the division leader. And then you have the Denver Broncos at 2-2. So if the playoffs were to start today, they would host a playoff game, even at 2-2. Then you have the Baltimore Ravens as the number 1 wild card at 4-0. Your Cleveland Browns are at 3-1, the number 6 seed, and then the New York Football Jets are at the 7th seed at 2-2, followed by the Las Vegas Raiders, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs are pulling up the rear. Just kind of looking at some statistical performances thus far, kind of your league leaders. Todd Suttles leading the league in passing, 1,600 yards, has 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Brock Purdy is, again, probably headed towards another MVP with 17 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Just not sure if we've seen that type of quarterback performance before. So far, again, just phenomenal what Brock Purdy is doing. You look at Flattery in Denver, 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Then you look at Joe Burrow, but look at Mac Jones, 23 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So Mac Jones is definitely putting up a lot of touchdowns. But if there's any kind of statistical performance that stands out looking at the quarterbacks, it's definitely Brock Purdy with his 17 touchdowns and 1 interception. Looking at your league leaders in rushing, you have Kenneth Walker III, 533 yards, averaging 7.4 yards per rush. You have the rookie Tymon Haskins, 521 yards with 7 touchdowns. You have Najee Harris from the Steelers at 506 yards and 9 touchdowns, followed by David Geddes and Bijan Robinson. Looking at your top receivers thus far after 4 weeks, Keenan Charleston, again from your San Francisco 49ers, your 2-time PHFL champion. So kind of the rich get richer. 693 yards, averaging 27.72 yards per reception, 8 touchdowns. J.C. Fitzpatrick leading all receivers with 10 touchdowns. He's second in the league in receiving yardage. You had Christian Watson at 553, and then followed by Antonio Watkins and Cameron Pons from your Minnesota Vikings. So again, those are your offensive leaders after the first 4 weeks. Looking at your defensive leaders, as far as tackles are concerned, you look at Drew Sanders from your Buffalo Bills, Marshawn Lattimore. Not sure how a cornerback / safety is leading in tackling, but Marshawn Lattimore is second in the league in tackling with Matt Blue, Tremaine Hawkins, and Tyler Boone. As far as sacks is concerned, Nolan Smith, he's just a monster coming off the edge with, I believe, 97, 98 speed. He has 7.5 sacks. Quinny Williams is a problem in the middle for your Dallas Cowboys, 5.5 sacks, followed by Bryce Boast, Jalen Carter, and Louis Samuel from your Green Bay Packers, rounding up the top 5 in sacks. And then your interception leaders, Micah Fitzpatrick with 5 interceptions, tied with McPhee from the Houston Texans. And then you got Deontay Banks with 5. You have Harvey Gilmore with 5. And then Sean Rice from your Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 4. So those are your leaders as far as statistically, individually. And then if you want to go through we can take a quick glance at teams and kind of look at from a statistical perspective, who are your number one offenses and who is your, number one defenses. So when you look at offense, your number one offense in the league from a yardage perspective is your San Francisco 49ers. They're number 1 in the league, averaging 467 yards per game, followed by the New England Patriots, the New York Jets, the Cincinnati Bengals, and then rounding out the top 5 is your Carolina Panthers at 442 yards per game. Looking at defense, who is your number 1 defense as far as yards per game, is your Houston Texans. The number 1 defense, no surprise, the number 1 defense in the league, giving up only 269 yards per game, followed by your Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Baltimore Ravens, and the New York Giants. So again, this is kind of some of the content that you're going to be getting going forward from the PHFL media team. We'll be having some special guests. We'll talk about a lot of different content. So again, just want to give the league kind of a snapshot of what tomorrow is going to look like as far as our weekly news recaps and some of the things that we're going to be doing going forward. So this is your boy, the old ball coach, signing out.